Okay, today's installation is showing Mike installing a Becker modular cooling tower system. When you receive these in the box, you'll unpack them as you usually would and inspect for any damage of the parts and notify Becker Engineered Systems. What we're seeing now is the installation of the corrosion module. We'll then see the installation of the controller module, and the last module will be the pumping module. As you can see, as a normal layout on a wall, we'll line it up, get it square, mark the mounting holes, and then we'll pre-drill those holes. The design of this system uses modular panels to enable one person to do an installation quickly. So in this step, the first panel mounted will be an alignment panel for the other panels. It's helpful in this step to get a magnetic holder for your drills. Obviously, one person holding a board up with one hand, it will be a helpful tool to use in this setup. The installation method for these panels can be several methods. In this case, we're mounting it obviously to a wood bearing strips. In the field, depending on what type of wall you have, you may have to use a strut type spacer, which we can provide, or even a freestanding stand, which we can also provide. But the initial steps are going to be the same. You get your mounting surface prepared for whatever means, and then you take each individual panel and mount it to that framework. Here we're seeing the installation of the 900 series wall-cam controller. Other model controllers can also be added to these panels, like the 600 series or the 100 series, and the plumbing will be adjusted accordingly. This one has pH conductivity and ORP, flow switch, sample port, some of the standard items on this module. Now, with the top module connected, there's a single union nut that joins the two panels. Since these are prefabricated at Becker equipment, we've already ensured proper alignment on these fittings, so as long as the board is aligned, your unions will line up, and they're just simply screwed together once each board is finally attached to the wall. This board is a blank panel, which we use normally for either aesthetic purposes or for the use of mounting literature, operating procedures, MSDS sheets, folders, things like that. If you want a nice clean surface to mount those things to, we do offer these blanks. Not necessarily for the functioning of the rest of the system, but it does make it look a little bit nicer. Here's the installation of the pumping module, and it goes better together in the same fashion as the other boards. You line up the panel and butt it up against the others. You can attach the union. It'll pretty much be held in place, and now you can screw into the fasteners to fix this panel. One of the key elements in mounting this system is the height adjustment on it, especially when you have incorporated the pumping module. As you'll see, the bottom suction side of these pumps creates the suction lift required. This was the installation of the pumping module. One of the last steps in this phase This is the installation of the pumping module section. It butts up against the other panels. You'll attach it to the wall with the same fasteners as you did before. We ship this unit without the pumps mounted to prevent breakage, so you'll pull out each pump and locate them. What you want to do is have that lower suction of the pump be no more than the 4.5 type height distance from the floor. That's because that's mainly the limit of the suction lift for this model type pump, 4 to 5 feet. But that's one thing you don't want too high up. We do mount the pumps so they face outward, so you can remove heads, work on the heads, have access to the pumps without them interfering in the pump to the left of it. In this case, these are Milwaukee EZ series pumps. Looks like an inhibitor feed, bias side, and possibly a second bias side or pH adjustment pump. These are also available with 4 or 5 pump modules. Similar, just a little bit wider panel. Because when we use a modular system, we've shown it installed with the panels butted right up against each other. One of the benefits of this system is sometimes you don't have the wall space or area to put them next together, so you can remotely mount each panel. We would provide the missing union pieces so that you can separate the pump area from the corrosion rack, from the monitor, and just interconnect them with regular PVC piping, whatever you want. So if you can't put it all in one section on one big board, this system will still be right for you. You can remotely mount any of the panels and interconnect them with PVC piping if that's a better installation. Now we have a completed system. Each pump has been mounted to the shelves. What's left is to plug each pump cord into its respective pigtail, and you'll be ready for wet testing. Definitely plumb the water in the lower right, out the top left, and your system will be finished.